Okay. You are most welcome to this today's lesson in our session 2 of Learn with Laurie. Good morning, I'm Mobilu Lawrence, and I want us to pick on from where we stopped yesterday. As I told you, the program of the week, we were supposed to look at HTML yesterday. I believe you went back and did some research and even did some practice on the HTML tags. Okay.
I've not yet because you called me up when I'm in report processing and I'm in charge of them, so I'm a bit busy, but I try to fix time so that at least the online session does not go down. Today they are breaking off and I think I'll do it a different time. In case of anything, I'll just send something with a video you sent me direct to your WhatsApp.
Okay, no problem. That is very fine. The recordings are going to be available almost every day. Even today's recording, I believe it will be available on the internet, on the YouTube channel. So today I want us to handle CSS. HTML and CSS are two languages that move hand in hand. They move together. HTML is a structuring language. It lays the foundation. It tells us that I'm building a house, so it makes sure that it drafts the rooms, that now this is a bathroom, this one is a sitting room, this one is a dining room, this one is a garage, this one is whatever. So it makes sure that it structures your house and it segments it into the different rooms. That is HTML. However, CSS does the finishing, the interior and exterior designing, and all the other things that you may need to know. That is the use of CSS. So CSS is, in other words, a styling language, where it is used so much to give styles to the HTML elements. That is basically what CSS does. That is why they move together, because it is not so common someone to build a house and they don't go into painting it, designing it, and doing a lot of other things that they really want to see that make their house very beautiful. So now, having learned how to lay the foundation, having learned how to build our rooms, the bathrooms, the sitting rooms, the dining rooms, the kitchen and whatever, we need now to learn how to do their interior designing and how to do their exterior designing, painting them and finishing them to see that they are very, very beautiful in the way they look like. So that is where CSS comes in. CSS simply stands for cascading style sheets. I may not have told you what HTML stands for. It stands for hypertext markup language. So CSS basically stands for cascading style sheets, and it is usually used to style elements. It determines how elements are to be displayed. That is basically the use of the CSS. And this CSS is very, very important in as far as what we do is concerned here, as we are going to see some of its uses, and we are going to be embedding CSS into the HTML that we have already written. That is basically our CSS. I'm going to start with showing you how can we embed CSS into HTML, or how do we write CSS. Just as yesterday we started with seeing how do we write HTML. So we learned how to write HTML and we wrote some tags. Now I want to see, or I want to show you, how do we write CSS. After that, we shall look at the syntax of the CSS code, and then we shall go into its applicability. We shall apply it on different elements to see how best we can really use CSS to design a very, very wonderful page. So how do we add CSS? There are three ways of using CSS. We can use CSS externally, which we call external CSS. We can use CSS internally, what we call internal CSS, and we can use CSS inline, what we call inline CSS. I'll start with the inline CSS because it is the easiest. Inline CSS is using CSS to give styles to individual elements there in their codes. For example, there is this code here that I was using yesterday. There's this code here that I wrote yesterday. and the let me try to get it. See, let me try to display it. Okay, so we have this. This is what I was using yesterday. Let me just try to make it a bit more organized. Let me just try to remove this such that I don't think I shared. I'd forgotten. Let me share. Let me simply share. Screen to share. So I believe it is loading. It must be loading. Are you seeing anything?
Yeah, it's loading.
Okay, no, dismiss. So you can now see something.
Yeah.
You are saying this is the heading, eh?
Yeah.
Okay, that is good. So I have this code here. Let me just try to refresh a bit such that we have something that is a bit beautiful. So I have that. So maybe I may want to use inline CSS. This is what happens. I want to style my heading. So to use inline CSS, we add a style attribute to every element. That is basically what we do. I don't remember whether I talked about the attribute thing, but let me talk about it. Whenever we write elements, for example, if I write h1 is an element name, or is a tag that creates an element heading 1. And we realized from what we saw yesterday that headings, according to the number you give it, it receives some kind of styling in terms of font size. That heading 1 is bigger than heading 2 and so forth. So this is what happens. After writing heading 1, that is the element name, anything that I add there in that element tag is what we call an attribute. So for example, if I want to style, I can just come here and put inside the heading 1. I be like heading 1. I don't know whether you can see well my code. I'm in the heading 1 tag before even closing it. Heading 1, then I add the word style. I add the style there. Heading 1 style, that is now inline CSS. And now, this is what happens. You are telling this computer that I want to give style to this heading 1 only, not all the heading 1s that you'll use in your code, but only that heading 1 that has that text. And the syntax is, after writing style, you must put equal signs and then open quotes. Each and every other thing that you want to put, all the styles that you want to put for the heading 1s must appear in the middle of those fonts. For example, now let me give font size. Be like font size. After writing font size, I must put a full colon. Then after putting a full colon, you can choose which quantity to use. We have percentages, we have centimeters, we have points, but we usually use so much the points. That is what we use so much for the points. We actually use points that are written as PTs. They are written as PTs. So I'll simply come and be like, I want this one to be a 20 PT. Don't leave space between 20 and PT. Please don't. Yeah, just be like font size 20 PT. Then you terminate. You must terminate by putting a semicolon. I started with putting a full colon. I wrote the quantity, then I'm terminating with a semicolon. That is now code for the font size. Then I'll come and be like font color, or I may just come and say color. Now the color we use here in coding is not the other color of it's not the other British color of U. Here we use color without U. And now this one will show you some colors. If you feel like there is, HTML supports over 140 colors. That is HTML. It supports over 140 colors. These colors come from the major colors that we know: orange, green, blue, red. However, we have what we call tints. I'm going to explain about colors so much. We have what we call tints. Like blue can have over 10 tint colors that are coming from blue. That is basically what we have when we look at this. So I can come and say maybe color. I can come and be like, I want my color to be blue. Then I close that. I terminate. Then what else? I be like font family. We don't use font. We just use font family for font style. Be like font family. You can say Times New Roman. Times New Roman. It is here. Times New Roman, Times Serif, and whatever. Then after, you can come and terminate still. Yeah, like that. You terminate once. So that is basically our syntax. Then you close and you write what you want to be in your heading. Maybe you say the other one was Laurie's Donuts. Be like Laurie's Donuts, like that. So you save and you can try to see what is really happening now. See how it has happened. It has gotten some color, it has gotten some different font, and then that is basically how it is. Now you can center still. You can center by using this style of align. Okay, let me first allow someone to join. Admit. Okay, so you can still add another attribute, and you'll be like can add some other attribute, and you say maybe I want to now specify. You say align. Okay, you can say align self or align content. Can use align content or align self. You align to the center and you save. Because sometimes they are used interchangeably. Sometimes it is the align content that works, and some other time it is the align self. However, on some other times both of them can fail to work on your thing, and the best thing to do is to use the old version way of centering. Now, like here, it has failed to work, the align content and the align self. Or sometimes you can come and use the text align, like that. You say text align, align to center, you save, and you do that. That one is also some other kind of styling that can style. Be like text align, take me to the center. So still again, you can come and add other things. Yes, please.
Where are you saving?
I'm just Control S. I'm just pressing the Control S, controlling S. Yeah, just that, because we saved already. Okay, that is good. So now, that is all these. You see, that is all inline CSS. I'm just giving style to that one heading. Maybe there is some tag that I didn't show you that people like so much. There is a tag called the Macui tag. It is very nice. People, it is called Macui. Let me just leave this one here. Let me start with removing everything here. It is just Macui, like that. It is Macui, then all the other things come inside the Macui tag. So this Macui opens and closes, but basically what the McQueen does is to move the words, to have words moving on the screen. That is basically what McQueen does, and that is why people like it so much. Almost everyone wants to use McQueen. That is what everyone wants to use. However, yes. Nchali mu meeting, nchali mu meeting. Yes. So that is basically what I've done. It is like there is what you call tag nesting. And the tag nesting is simply putting one tag inside another tag. That is tag nesting. So now what you do, what you want to put inside the other, like now the McQueen is what moves. So you rather tell this that McQueen is moving, and what you want to move must appear inside the McQueen tag. That is why you're saying that I started with removing the heading 1. I removed everything, then I opened the McQueen tag, I put everything that I want to move inside the McQueen tag, then I close it after. So that is basically how it operates. So you may want to put that. Then after, you can come here. Maybe let's specify the paragraph, and you'll be like, okay, lorries. Then there are some other tags. Okay, some other tags like okay, you can also add this here. You can be like underline style. Okay, text underline. It can be text underline. Let me use the text underline. Text underline, you can say maybe double. Can make it like that. Text underline double, or you can be like underline style double still. So whichever, you need to be trying it out. Whatever works for you is what you go with, depending on the version of CSS that you're using. Text underline and the underline style. The CSS style, it will depend on very many things. It will depend on your browser. It will depend on your browser. It will depend on the windows that you're using. It will also depend on what you write. Yeah, so sometimes someone can be like underline style or underline text or text underline, whatever you use, and you underline it. Or if not, if this one is becoming hard for you, then there is a simpler one that you can just come and you nest some other tag inside here. You nest a tag and you be like, let me put the underline tag here. See, it is just you. Be like underline, you do that. And now when you save, you can come here and it will be simply doing that. It will be underlined like that. So it all turns to how you want this thing to appear, or how you want your work to look like. That is basically what we have. Alright, that is about our styles. That is inline CSS that I wanted to show you. Remember, Fatuma, where you have joined from, we have been talking about how to use CSS as a styling language. And we have said, being that CSS is a styling language, CSS does the interior designing and the exterior designing, the painting, flourishing, and every other thing that we need to do to make our things very beautiful. So we have said that in this, there are 3 ways of using CSS, and we have said 1 is what we call the external CSS, 2 is what we call the internal CSS, and 3 is what we call the inline CSS. What we have started with is what we call the inline CSS, where we give styles to an individual element in its code. and you have said to do that, you just come and add this style attribute. You open, like now I want to give styles to heading 1. I write heading 1 style. Style is an attribute now to heading 1. Then I put equal sign, I open quotes, I put all these. This is now my CSS that I want to make the font size 20. I want to make the color blue. I want to make the font family Times New Roman, and I want to align text or text align to the center. So that is the inline CSS. That one has only applied to that element, not even all the H1 elements that are going to be there, but only that heading 1. Even if you come back down here and you put some other heading 1, even if you come back here and you put another heading 1 down here, let me try to put another heading 1, and I say test heading, call it a test heading, and I save. You come and display it here. It is going to have a different kind of formatting. It won't have the other same format. Why? Because this one, the one for test heading, is the usual style for all heading 1s, but this one was customized. I can say in Uganda, in twagikutemuko, we customized it a bit, and we made sure that it really comes out and fits what we want. So all the other heading 1s will be with the other default style for heading 1. So that is basically how inline CSS operates. Method number 2 is what we call internal CSS. Yes?
So does this mean that for whichever heading you want to add, give it a different?
That is if you're using inline CSS. No. That is if you're using inline CSS. We have said inline CSS works for individual elements. Each element can be given a totally different style by using the style attribute. Yeah. So now from there we are going to look at what we call the internal CSS. Internal CSS is where you specify elements, not necessarily specifying in a line. Like you don't come here and put your CSS here. However, let me try to even remove it here. I save. Now after removing it, it takes us back to our normal. That is how it is. But now when you want to use internal CSS, the other first one was inline. Don't get confused, it was inline CSS. This one is internal. The CSS, all the CSS for all the elements on that page that you're designing is written separately, but within the same page or within the same code. So where do we put that? We put it inside the head section. We put the content or the elements in the body, like the heading 1, the tables, we put those ones in the body. But their styles, their CSS is put again in the head section. How do we do that? You come back to your head section before closing it, and you put another tag called style. Like that. You open style and you close it. So all your CSS for that page is supposed to appear inside that style tag. For example, if I'm doing maybe CSS for heading 1, what I do is very simple. I come here and say heading 1. See how it happens. I do heading 1. I open the curly brackets and I close them. So the CSS for heading 1 must appear inside the curly bracket. It must appear inside there. That is how it is supposed to be like. All the CSS must be placed inside the curly brackets. Heading 1. Now I can come and paste these things here. Can be like, okay, now you don't put the other style. Just be like font size 20. You terminate. Color blue. Terminate. Font family is that, you still terminate. Text align is that, you terminate. You remove this because it is not necessary. You save. You come here. Let us try to do this and see. You see it is going back to our normal, and I can come back and adjust here. I be like, okay, not 20, give me 40. I do that. I try to refresh here like that. It gives me that, or that is so big, I'll give it a 30. Okay, so you come and do that. That is now my Loris Donuts, but it is still the same styling, but now you see where I've put it. And now using this internal CSS, for it does not specify style for one heading, but now every time I'll use heading 1, every time I add another heading 1, it will pick on the same style. For example, if I come and say test heading, I save, it will also take the same heading, it will also take the same attribute C. It is not underlined because the underline tag is on this heading 1 here, the U, but all these other styles that were put here are applying on all the heading 1s. So if you feel you want to have a uniform thing for all your heading 1s, for all your whatever, it is just a matter of using internal CSS, which is put inside the style tag in the head section. The elements are put in the body section, but the elements are put in the body section, but these other things, the CSS is put inside our style tag in the head section. I can come and add some other things like body. When you come and put body, maybe you want to specify the background color. How do we change background color of our pages? I just come and be like body, then you come here and say background color. Background color. Add it there. You can say maybe let it be Alice blue or let it be aquamarine. That aquamarine kind of color. You save, and then you come here and you refresh. You see it has changed, as simple as that. However, try so much to follow the rules of designing, especially when you are designing your pages. Whenever we are designing, we advise it is better and better you use the it is better and better use only 2 colors. When we are counting colors, black and white are not counted as colors, so it is better use 2 colors and add black and white. So it is better you use, for example, if you choose to use the blue and maybe purple, blue and purple, what you do, blue and purple, what you do, you must make sure that you only follow that blue and purple. If maybe you are changing, you can change the colors, but you just need to still be in the font colors of blue and purple. Now let me dig deeper into colors. Let me try to load something here and I explain the concept of colors. Okay, so now when you are writing a color, let me start with looking at HTML colors here. Okay, maybe let's go to this HTML colors and their tints. HTML colors and their tints. Let us try to browse and read something about them. Okay, let's go with HTML color codes. Yes, Shaki, you are most welcome. Yes, Shaki, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, you are most welcome.
Yeah.
Okay, that is good. Okay. So now Good enough, I'm recording, so I'll share the YouTube link for this such that you can catch up, because we had moved some few minutes, but I'll share such that you can catch up. Now this is not very good, but at least it can give us a hint. We are talking about the HTML colors, and like I told you HTML supports over 140 colors. So you can see it is giving me white, silver, gray, black, red, maroon, yellow, olive, what, but all these are still colors. And now in each of these colors it can have different tints. For example, you look, they can show you some color here, maybe this. So now these ones can be all tints of one color, like they be like Indian red, light coral, salmon, maybe the dark salmon. You look at the dark salmon, the light salmon, and other colors. So basically when I talk about tint colors, blue can have very many tint colors, and the best way you can understand this is learning how to embed colors. How do we specify, or how do we define colors? Now this one is very important. When you are defining a color, there are around 3 to 4 ways that you can use. You can define it using its name, just as we did here, and we said color blue. That one is a name. Number 2, you can define a color using the RGB combination. Every color in this world has what we call an RGB combination. RGB stands for red, green, and blue. Red, green, and blue. Because we realize from our art knowledge, the little art knowledge, that every color is a mixture. At least all colors can be mixed. That when you mix maybe red and blue, you get this one. When you mix red and green, you get this one. So that is the idea that even printers use. If you have worked with colored printers, you realize that most of them, you only give them 4 colors. That is to say, you give them maybe cyan, magenta, and yellow. Then what some people call red and blue, then plus yellow. Then you give it also black. But you can use it to print any other color that you feel like. And how does that one work? It blends those 3 colors that you give it. Then it also adds some black, and it gives you any other color that you want. It is the same concept that computers use. Through RGB, through mixing red, green, and blue, they can display any color that we want. That is why there is also that RGB combination. However, that is not very friendly, because not everyone is very familiar with cramming colors. However, now if you want to use things like the RGB combination of blue, I think it will be 0, then 0, then over 225, 255. I'm not even sure whether that is how we need to write it. So let us try to test and see. Okay, that one is black now. RGB. Okay. So now, how can you see these RGBs quite well? It is very easy. On this kind of thing, when you click in this color, it is showing you how it is supposed to be written. 0, 0, 0. And okay, it was correct. What we missed was this, putting RGB. Then we put into brackets. We say 0, 0, and then 255. It will bring us the blue, because you realize that it is red, green, and blue. So now if you want to put red, green, and blue, it means if you want blue alone, the blue must be at its highest and the others must be to 0. Every color, when we are using this RGB, a color can range between 0 and 255. You can give it any number that is between there. It can be 0 or 255 or any number that is between there. So now, if I want to have red alone, I'll just come and make red high. I put it to its highest and I put the others to 0. It will give me red. If I want green, I'll put green at its highest and I put the other ones to 0. That is RGB combination. However, to get other blends of other colors, you can try to be modifying these, So let blue be 100, and let this one maybe come and be 40. Maybe 40. It's not supposed to exceed. So once I do that, and maybe I can put this to 200 like that. So I come and say, okay, let me save and try to see what has happened. It has given me some kind of blue like color with that thing. So that is basically how we use the RGB. I don't know whether it is clear to you, though it is not very friendly. It is not something that is so friendly that everyone has to use it. Another method number 3, is what we call the RGB alpha. Now the other one was just RG and B, but we can add the A for RGB alpha. Then this one will come and be, okay, you come and put maybe, I don't know, that is how we write. We come and put maybe 0, 0, come and put maybe 255. Then you must also put alpha. Alpha now, for alpha it is not between 0 to 100 to 225 or 255. For alpha it ranges between 0 and 1. So it means it can even take points. And alpha is transparency, like how transparent a color is. So for example, I can come and say, let my alpha be 1. I save. It will give me the real blue. It will give me the real blue. But now if I come here and be like, let my alpha be 0.1. 0.1. Let me try to see what happens. You see that it is very transparent, that it can't even be seen. So I can come and make it maybe 0.7. It will become a bit visible, but it will still be a bit transparent, not very bright like the other one. So that is the RGB alpha. It is a matter of playing around between 0 to 1 to change the transparency. That is number 3. And then lastly, it is using the hex. Hex, if you did some IT course, hexadecimal, that one, we are using some kind of binary thing to specify. But the only special tool with hex is that when we are using hex, we run between 0 to F. Yeah, we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, then A, B, C, D, E, F to make 16 characters. Yeah, 0, 9, then A to F to make 16 characters. That is the hex. Now, what you need to do, any color can take on a value between 0 to F. 0 is the lowest and F is the highest. So any color can take on, and every color, it is still also in the RGB order, but red is given to, R is given 2 characters, green 2 characters, and blue 2 characters. So what do I mean? When we are writing a hex code, we start with hash. You say color hash, then you can come and say, let my red be set to F, which is the highest. F is the highest. Then you can select my blue, my green be set to 0. 0 is the lowest. And let my red, let my blue also be set to 0. That one will give us red, because now it is red that has been put to highest and the other ones put to their lowest. So that one gives us red. You can still come here and be like, okay, let me change this. I give it 0. Still 0, then FF. That one will give us blue. So it is a matter of playing with this. You can come and be like, okay, I want red to be put to AA. Like that, it gives us a different color. That is maybe purple. It gives us a very different color. That is maybe some purple-like color. So it is a matter of playing with those. And those are the 4 ways of embedding colors. Now, you don't need to cram these colors. You don't. Even if you are designing, it has no problem if you go to your Google and you check for colors. You look for the best tint that can serve you. You come and write its name, or you get its hex code, because they are always here. The hex code Z, now this one is here. For Indian red, the hex code is here, and the RGB is here. Now the RGBA, that one is up to you. You can choose should I add something, should I remove something to make it a bit transparent. That is up to you in your free time. So that is basically how we deal with CSS colors, and that is how we write internal CSS. What have we seen today? We have looked at the inline CSS, which we said you put CSS on the specific element using the style attribute. Then we have also looked at what we call the inline CSS, where we have said here, no, the internal CSS, where you put the CSS in your same code, but in the head section under the style tag. If you can see here, I'm still in the head section. I opened the style tag and I placed things there. Then I put this one here. And then lastly is what we call the external CSS. This one is what I like most whenever I'm writing code. It turns out to be a bit organized. So what do we do for this kind of CSS? What you do, you don't put this here. You don't put this here. Yeah, you don't put this. And even the style tag doesn't even need to appear anywhere. Just come and remove it like that. So you save. Now after saving, you realize that everything goes back to 0. Okay, that is now saving. So now how do you embed this inline CSS, the external CSS? One thing you start with, you come to your file tab, you create a new file, create a new text file, you write some dummy CSS. Even if you don't write anything and you start with saving, we looked at how to save yesterday, and still I'll share a video that will talk about how to save, or in the other videos I showed you, they are there. So you can come and do this till you come back and be like, this is my style sheet, or this one is okay, my style sheet. It is the name that you want to give it. You want to call it your style sheet. And now when you are saving, the type should be CSS stands for cascading style sheet. So you come and choose CSS as the file type. So you save. The computer will know that you have created a folder or a file called mystylesheet.css. Now you come and paste your CSS here, just as we were writing it in the internal CSS. You come and paste it all here. Then you come and save. But now you must create a link between this file and this file, the index. You must create a link such that whenever the HTML is looking for any style, it goes to the other style sheet that you have written. How do you do that? You come in your head section and you write a tag called link. We don't need to close the link. You don't close the link. So just come and be like link. You say link rel, like that. What are you putting in the link? You say here, I'm going to put a style sheet, like that. Link rel equal sign. You know, you should now learn how, you should have learned how to write CSS. Whenever you open and put maybe an attribute, you must put equal sign and open. That is how we write attributes. You must put equal sign and open quotes. So link rel, that is how we do it. And now we put maybe the href. Href specifies the web address, or the address where we are supposed to ping the link. Now the rel is telling this link that in this I'm putting a link for a style sheet. And now this href here is going to tell this computer that I want you to go and pick my style sheet.css. It is already here. You save. Now this one, to write it like this, it is only applicable if your style sheet file, let me make it clear, if this style sheet file is in the same folder with the index, like if these two files are in the same folder, that is when you only write my style sheet. However, if they are not in the same folder, you must write the file path. You must come here, you right click and maybe in the options that come, you choose the option of copy path if it is there. If it is not there, you can come and check for it here. Still it is also there, or not. If you can also come here, somewhere here, and you copy the path, it is still applicable. You copy address here, then you come here and paste it. Instead of just writing, you come here and paste it. Oh, I made a mistake. So that is basically what you do. You copy the path, you bring, you paste, things will go back to their normal. Now every time I want to write my CSS, I just come to my style sheet. I say that all heading ones, give them this, all these ones give them that. So that is basically about that. Those are the 3 ways through which we can embed CSS. Now there are some things I now want to handle again. For example, how to add an image. Okay, to add an image, we must put img. The img is the element name, or is the tag name for an image. But now you must give this image, you must tell this computer that, you know what, this is the source where you're supposed to pick my image. So you come and say img src. The src stands for source. The image source still equal sign open. Now you come and look for your image. If the image is in the same folder where there is the index page, or where there is that web page, you just put the image name. Let me make it clear for you guys. For example, if I come here, okay, what do I have here? Okay, maybe I have this. So I have this image here. It is called web. It is web, and it is a JPG file. You must look at the extension. So if it is in the same folder, you can now see it is in the same folder where I have the index and my style sheet. I just come and be like image src. I say web.jpg. That is what I put, web.jpg. I can even close from there. I save. When I come to this and I try to refresh, it will have created this image for me already. It will have created the image for me. However, it is so big. It is so big. Now that takes us into the CSS that styles. Okay. However, even before going there, we have not yet finished this image src. So what you do, you come and add another attribute called alt. This alt is very important whenever you're dealing with the multimedia. I may be having a phone that can't display, or that is not very updated, and so it can't display the multimedia that you have put on your page. What do I do? What I must do, you must specify in your code that if what we put under the alt is what you want the computer to display in case the image can't be displayed. So you can come and say oops, your computer or your device cannot display the image. Your device cannot display the image. We put it inside the alt. Now let me try to change the name here such that it can't find the image. Let me just say it is web.jpg. You know, it is wb instead of web. So if I refresh here, it won't be able to see, but it will put instead a text that says, oops, your device cannot display the image. That one is the use of alt. Let's take, for example, if alt wasn't there. Let's see if the alt wasn't there. What would this computer do? Okay. Suppose the alt is not there and it can't see the image. This is what it would do. It will show that there is an image but can't be displayed, but won't show any image. So that is what some people forget when they are writing their codes. However, that is what we have. Now, That is if the image is in the same folder with your with your files. And how about if it is not in the same folder? Maybe I have this. Okay. Let me look for some image here. Suppose I have this image. It is called img1, and it is a JPEG file. You know, they are not in the same folder. So what I do, I must come and I maybe copy path. I must look for the copy path, or if it is not there, I can just come and open here. I copy it from here. That one is another way of opening it. You copy that path. So now where you have the image source, you need to make sure you remove this and you put this here. You paste that one there. You paste that one there. Then you also put another /. You put a / here. After putting that /, then you come and say it is called img1. You save. You must give it the full link. So after giving it the full link, then you can come here and refresh. You see it has displayed for me the image. So that one is very, very, very important. Very, very important. Yeah, do you have any question up to that point? Yes, I'm hearing you. You can go on, please. Omukyala mulete omulage ku firimu za jinga eziriwo alondemu. Okay, so you were saying that you want to, there is the image is not in the folder. It is very okay. So once you go to your folder, you pick. That is what I did actually here. You saw that I didn't have this image here, but I copied it from wherever it was and I placed it here. So after placing it there, then I can just come and use its name without necessarily putting the path. Can just do it like that. Yeah. So actually that one is better because when you go into uploading your files, remember we are now designing offline. So if you go into uploading your files on the web, you realize that it is actually very important when all your files are in the same folder because you upload them at once. But if you just get scattered files, you may end up forgetting them. You may end up forgetting some files and your computer won't be able to display them because they won't be uploaded. So that one is really, really very important. Now, how do we size? There is some other thing that I want to teach you today, the concept of classes and IDs. If you want to refer to a specific element in your CSS, that now I want to give size to this image, but I want to give that size there in my external CSS, you can refer to it and you'll be like image class. Be like image class, like that. You give it a name. You say maybe web. You can give it any name. That image class, you write a name that you're going to call it here. So now I can come here and be like my web as a class. Web as a class. I open this. Actually, when it is a class, you must call it using a dot. You start with the .web. .web in your CSS. You call it like that. Then after calling it, you do that. You start giving it. You say maybe width. Let my width be 100. No. Let it be. Okay, let it just be 100 pixels. Then you say height, let it also be 100 px. Yeah, and you can be like maybe align. Okay, let's say maybe align center, like that. So that is my kind of thing that I have here. I can now do this. You see, when I refresh, it is becoming a bit small, because I've given it 100 px. So that is how we style images, and that is the concept of classes. Another method, instead of using classes, you can say id. You can use an id. This one works, this attribute works for all the elements. Even if it is a paragraph, you can say p, then class. Then you go there, you call it, and give it its own stylings. So it is called maybe id. Now, what makes it different is that if it is id, you don't start with a dot. So when you start with a dot, it won't work. When you call it id, it won't work. It will remain the same. What you have to do, if it is id, you must use the hash. You start with the hash web, then you do that. IDs are called using hash, and the classes are called using dot. So that is basically what we have today. I think that is what we are going to share in as far as writing CSS is concerned. Tomorrow we shall look at something small about CSS, and then we shall start on WordPress. I now welcome any question from anyone. If you have any question that you feel you want to know. Still, the YouTube, this lesson is going to be available on YouTube. I'll share the link in your inboxes. And also, there are going to be videos of CSS explained thoroughly well. They are going to be there, and still they will be on the YouTube channel, and I'll share the links just as we saw videos of HTML. Yes, please. Any question? Actually, these ones are not installed. No, these ones are not installed. Remember, the only thing we said you install here are the software, the Visual Studio Code that I'm using, or the Notepad or whatever, and then the browser, the Chrome. Those are the two that you install. These ones, HTML is just a language, and now this text editor is written with the ability to understand the HTML, the CSS, and actually Visual Studio Code goes ahead to support very many other languages. That is why you saw here when I was saving. Okay. You see here when I'm saving. Let me try to do this. Select a language. You see here when you see some of the languages that it can support very many other languages. All these are programming languages. Batch, BibTeX, Binary, C#, C++. It has the CUDA, C++, the Dart. All these ones are programming languages it can support. As long as you know how to write it, for it can support. It has no problem.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other question? Maybe Madam Fatuma? Any question? Maybe. Okay, that is good. Still, the other website that I showed you yesterday, W3 Schools, that one can also be a very good point of reference. Now, yesterday we typed HTML W3 Schools, and we went to the HTML tutorial. This time around, if you want CSS, you can go to W3 Schools CSS. You see the CSS tutorial. It is there, and it is very good. You can go into learning everything, how to deal with lists. So tomorrow we shall write some things. We shall, I think, deal with the lists. shall just look at some lists here and maybe some other few things, but you need to go into a lot of research. It will help you to understand this better.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, Saki, any question? Okay.
For sure, no question we are ready now. Maybe
Okay, okay, okay.
for sure I'm
Mm.
running late.
Okay, okay, okay.